Today, we're digging into one of the most incredible stories in all of sports. It's about the Ryder Cup, golf's most electric, passionate spectacle. We're going to unpack how a friendly, kind of lopsided golf match that was on the verge of totally disappearing somehow transformed into this fierce, must-see rivalry.
So let's start with the central question, because it's a fascinating one. Why do these millionaire athletes, guys who play for massive paychecks every single week, show up and pour their heart and soul into an event where there is literally zero prize money? The answer, it turns out, is buried in its unbelievable history. All right, so what exactly is it? Well, the Ryder Cup is a team competition that happens every 2 years, pitting the best golfers from the United States against the best from Europe. It actually kicked off way back in 1927 as a match between the US and Great Britain, and it's all thanks to this English seed merchant, a guy named Samuel Ryder, who donated that now famous little gold trophy.
But you have to understand, the event we know and love today, it is nothing like how it started. For the first 50 years or so, the Ryder Cup had a huge problem. One team was just way too good, and it was threatening to kill the whole thing. I mean, the American dominance was just staggering. After World War II, the US just went on an absolute tear. In 1947, the score was a blowout, 11-1. And besides one single, kind of lonely win in 1957, Great Britain just could not hang. It became predictable and, frankly, a little bit boring.
Yeah, this kind of one-sided beatdown just wasn't sustainable. People were losing interest fast. And why wouldn't they? Why would you watch a contest when you already know who's going to win? The Ryder Cup was dying on the vine. It desperately needed a hero, or at the very least, a really big idea to save it.
And that right there brings us to the single most important turning point in the entire history of this event. This is the moment where a dying exhibition match got a second chance and started its journey to becoming the absolute spectacle we know today.
And here's the crazy part. The idea to fix it came from the very guy who was leading the charge for the dominant team, Jack Nicklaus, arguably the greatest golfer of all time. He knew that for the Ryder Cup to survive, it needed a real, legitimate fight. So he went and suggested, hey, why don't you let players from all over Europe join the Great Britain and Ireland team?
So in 1979, they made it official. And just like that, the talent pool for the other team just exploded overnight. All of a sudden, these fiery, passionate players like Seve Ballesteros from Spain and Bernhard Langer from Germany were on the team. The goal was simple. Let's finally make this a fair fight.
Now, this change didn't just balance the scales, it lit a fuse. What happened next wasn't just better competition, it was the birth of a genuine, emotional, high-stakes rivalry that would completely redefine the Ryder Cup forever.
And the impact was immediate. It was dramatic. Just look at the numbers. Before '79, the US had this insane 18-3 lead. After the change, the whole series is practically a toss-up. In fact, if you can believe it, Europe has actually won more Ryder Cups than the US in the modern era. That's a mind-blowing turnaround. And it all happened so fast. In 1983, Europe nearly pulled off a win on US soil. Then in '85, they finally broke that 28-year drought and got the victory. But the real earthquake was 1987. That's when they did the unthinkable. They beat the Americans on their own turf. The rivalry was officially 100% on.
From there, the intensity just kept cranking up. The 1991 Ryder Cup got nicknamed the War on the Shore, and it was just fiercely nationalistic. And it all came down to one single 6-foot putt from Bernhard Langer on the final hole. He missed it. The US won. And that image of his agony, it showed the world this was no longer some friendly little golf match.
All this incredible pressure started to create a whole new kind of golf hero. The players who really thrive at the Ryder Cup, they aren't always the same guys who go out and win major championships. It takes a different kind of DNA.
And this is what's so cool about it. You get guys like Ian Poulter. They call him the postman because he always delivers. The guy never won a major, but he is an absolute Ryder Cup icon. Seve Ballesteros was the emotional heart and soul of his team. And then you look at the other side. You've got Tiger Woods, maybe the greatest individual golfer ever, who has a losing record in this event. It just goes to show you, in this arena, that team chemistry and pure passion can often beat individual genius.
Now, in the modern era, another factor has become absolutely huge: home field advantage. The numbers don't lie. Winning on the road is now incredibly difficult. The home team gets to set up the golf course exactly how they like it, and they're backed by thousands of screaming fans. it creates this seriously intimidating environment for the visiting team.
And so, that's what the Ryder Cup leaves us with. In a sport that is so defined by individual achievement, this event proves that when you play for something bigger than a paycheck, for your teammates, for your continent, for just pure raw pride, the results can be absolutely legendary. It's a powerful lesson in what can happen when a group of superstars truly becomes a team.